Welcome back, YouTube. It's me again, your host, Brother Sadiq, and this is my spiritual experience. Today, I wanted to talk to you about us and our necessity to have discernment when navigating the matrix, right? And our lives. And when I say that, the matrix is, of course, the general idea of the setup of which we were born into. But there are things that we have to shake off of us, of course, that have kind of constricted our perspectives and our advancement and our growth. And so, some of the things that I personally struggle with, I want to share because, like I said, this spiritual experience of ours needs to be brought out of the closet and shared on an open stage. And I'm brave enough to do it, so I'm willing to do it. And these are some of the experiences that I think we all share that we may not be comfortable talking about because we've not found a solid foundation or comfort in how we navigate it. And so I'll tell you, there is always the ongoing experience of growth. So it is never going to be a solid foundation in how you navigate each situation because as you gain insight and growth and development, you may plateau at a place, but there will be advancement even beyond that. And so you have to be prepared for continuous growth. I personally consider myself an adamant student, and that means I'm continuously trying to learn. I'm looking to learn. I'm looking to be open to find new aspects and avenues to learn from. And so I think by that nature that I carry and that intention that I carry, it helps me to grow and advance in ways that a lot of us just don't pay attention to. And it's not because we don't want to pay attention to it. It's just like I said, it's because we're born into this matrix, and it's a struggle to detach yourself from these programs in order to see a different perspective. And so today I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of my own struggles and how I may still struggle with these things, right? Because as I said, it's about growth and advancement and continuous learning. So, in me sharing, I hope to be able to connect with others who may be processing things in a similar way, in a similar fashion. As I said, I believe that the human species, the human family, stems from one original thought and soul and creator and great spirit. And so, the things that I learn and the things that you learn about your spirit and about your spiritual life, I think are relevant beyond yourself. And so, you know, that's the premise of this show. That's the premise of why I'm on here hosting, because I feel like it takes a brave soul to be able to share some of their own spiritual experiences, because um, the world says no. The world says protect yourself. The world says the matrix is a threat and you must always guard yourself from it, right? And so there is a time in your life where you must begin to believe beyond the matrix, right? The power of the matrix, the strength of the matrix, or the man, right? Right? The man, right? Oh, the man ain't gonna let you do that. Oh, the man ain't gonna let you do this. You can't get where you want to go because of, the obstacles of the world, right? So this is the matrix. These are the things, these are the details that we struggle with. And I just want to talk about interpersonal relationships and how they can be educational. They can be rocket ships to your spiritual advancement. And they can also be um, definite obstacles in your way. And in my opinion, it's all about your perspective and how you view these situations when they come to you, right? When they present it in front of you, whether it's through family, through work, through just going to the gas station and running into the average, citizen. Sometimes these encounters can be quite relevant and opportunities for advancement, or as I said, or a hurdle, an obstacle. So I just was the idea comes. I was thinking earlier about like how the world right now, they're talking about like single mothers and the black community and single mothers in America, and how men should stay away from them, right? And to me, it's just I have an opinion, of course. My mom was a single mother, and I have married two single mothers in my lifetime, right? And so the idea, in my opinion, is that, one would ask, why would I do that, right? And they say, oh, only suckers and simps and et cetera, do that, right? And so for me, that is very detrimental to our community. And I say that because it's a sad scenario that our community is in obvious shambles in relations of single motherhood and these boys and girls growing up with no example of what a man is, right? A man and his character and his intention and his role in the family, et cetera, right? Because we don't get this dualistic view of what a family household is. We have these perceptions that are strictly controlled and guided by the matrix in which we live. And it is a sad reality, but if there is a concerted effort from the women in the community to put forth ideas of get a man, use a man, he's a checkbook, he's a tool. And from the man's perspective, there's the mentality that our women are loose and conniving and manipulative and gold digging. Then we are just forcing our own demise. We have to be able to analyze this situation from a much higher perspective. And the sadness is that we have not. We've not. We've and so I will attempt to tackle it from my own perspective today. So I look at society from a large perspective view, and I've seen how we as a people, Black America, has gotten here, and America in general has gotten here. I feel very, very much saddened because the predominant view and the loudest voices in our community are promoting our own demise, whether they are aware of it or not. And so the idea about the single mother households and the lack of male role models in our community, right? Whether it be in the household or in the community in general, right? So there's the obvious idea about, if we don't do it, who will, right? If our men don't choose to become the leaders in the community and say, we have to redirect how these narratives are going, right? Somebody has to say this is not correct, right? And if you can see that it's not correct, then I think you have a duty to say that it's not correct, right? And I'll probably get some flack for this. Oh, I'll probably get called a simp and all of this. But the fact of the matter is, if we don't take charge of our situation in America as a community, as a people, then it's obvious that we'll soon be, outnumbered, definitely financially outsmarted. Our money goes out the door like, water when you turn it on. It's just, as soon as it comes in, it's going out. So you can look at the statistics of how long the black dollar floats in its own community. Anyway, point being, we have to create some kind of structure, some kind of outline, some kind of code. Like I say, we're on code, being on code, right? We have to create some kind of standard for what is acceptable and what is unacceptable in our community, right? And so what I'm understanding right now is that single mothers are off limits, and that there is a movement toward women saying, because of the election, we're banning men. We're not with men. Men didn't protect our bodies. All of this is someone else's narrative. For one, the majority of what this election seemed to be about, and I really don't like doing politics on my channel or any of my conversation, but it seemed to me that there was a strong issue for women's rights and health, reproductive issues. And I never heard anything about any of the things that are related to women's health and reproductive issues that are related to, like, hysterectomies, or all of the cysts on the ovaries, and all of the things that cause these things, or preventative measures for these things. The highest argument that was heard and was promoted was about baby deletion. And I hate to say it, but that seems to be what the argument for the political positioning was throughout this last election. And everyone has an opinion, and they say that men shouldn't have an opinion about abortion, but I do. It's my community. If you look at the statistics, they are dire for our community. And so for me not to say a thing would be irresponsible, in my opinion. And the society says, and the matrix says, that I, as a man, should not say a thing about it because I don't have the capability to give birth to a baby. But I don't even want to make the argument. The argument's been made so many ways and so many times, because of course you need me to make this baby. And if I choose to keep the baby and you choose not to keep the baby, I have no say in that matter. That is an unfair imbalance in society, and we all know that, but there's not something that we're working towards changing. And so for us to even mention these issues is taboo, right? For us to mention someone trying to help, because see, I saw a video of a young lady who said her husband was a simp because she had 3 kids and he came along and tried to help her. And instead of the world seeing that man as a good man with a good intention and a good heart and hope for our community, trying to help this young lady and her children grow forward into a better form of life and perspective of reality, which would probably be a good thing for our community if more men did that, he's looked at as a simp and a sucker by the woman. And that's heartbreaking, because it deters more men from trying to be what they call Captain Save-A-Ho, right? So if you put Captain Save-A-Ho in a spiritual context, that's not a accurate statement of what's happening, right? I didn't go to Save-A-Ho. I didn't go to Save-A-Ho when I tried to be the father and help raise and manufacture a better mindset for this family, right? That wasn't my intention. And if it was taken wrong, then it was taken wrong. But this is the thing that I want to talk about that is spiritual to all of us individually, specifically. So these are social issues, but it comes down to you specifically, right? If you have a desire in your heart to do a thing that you feel is best, that is good, that is right, it may quite be directly a link to your higher self, to your next step in your path, to that door you was hoping would open. Okay, that's the goal to what I'm trying to talk about. So many times society, the matrix, your family, the community tells you, you shouldn't do that, bro. You're gonna look like a sucker. Or, you shouldn't do that, sis, because he playing you if you allow him to do that. Some things are within you that you have to make your decisions on without their perspective, because so many times we have had our own next step, highest level, open door closed to us because we've listened to the perspectives of those who are still highly attached to the matrix. And because we love them, we allowed some of their perspective to cloud or to sway our own opinion in how we move in our own lives. And each life is an individual's responsibility to bring about from that life the best that he can. And oftentimes our mind, which is attached to the matrix, and our ego and how we've survived and how the world may perceive us, versus our heart, which is attached to spirit, which is attempting to guide you to a higher place, which is attempting to give you lessons that you are not comfortable stepping into yet. So when we often go against what our heart may be telling us because our mind gives us a mathematical equation that says that's not wise, we often miss our door of opportunity to go to the next level. And so that's why I want to talk about these things, because all of these things come down to the individual's soul and the individual's path and purpose in being here. And so many times we are swayed by the outside world and the matrix and its perspective of what we're doing and what we're going to look like. Half the time, the world isn't even watching you. Like, you go outside knowing you have a zipper or a string hanging off your pants that you couldn't get without worrying about tearing or it's not correct. You have this idea that the entire world can see your zipper, or they're noticing that string, and it's not true. They don't even notice it, but you have this internal perspective that everyone's looking at this zipper or this button that's missing or this stain that's on your shirt that's way down that you've tried to hide. And so this is like how we're living, and we cannot play that game with our souls. That's not a game worth playing. And it's something I want to bring to the surface because these are the things that we go through in our everyday lives, and we have a choice to choose. And we often choose what seems comfortable, but it is also, generally speaking, not what is allowing us to advance in our growth, in our purpose, in our path, and our specific reason for being here. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And I think it's often put on display right now, perfectly timed in this time of transformation. There are so many issues that are put right on our feed, on our phone, on our YouTube, on our et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all these social medias, these things that go viral. They're almost like tests of your own character and where do you stand? What do you actually believe? Right? Yeah. So I feel that there is a flawed perspective of how we're looking at stepmothers, stepfathers, the broken homes in our community. This was done to us. This was a socially engineered, intended operation under many notable, factual, researchable, traceable, provable examples of how we got here. Yet we don't want to look at that. It's almost like this cognitive dissonance. Instead of looking at how we got here and taking on the weight of attempting to transform it and being a part of the transformation, you'd rather stand on the other side and make judgments that are so harsh about even your own people. It's sad where we are. It's sad. It's heartbreaking to a soul like myself because, yeah, I want us all to win. I really want us all to win. I know the time that we are in says we have the opportunity to all win. All we have to do is hold the vision, move towards it. And you know what I mean? It's I ain't finna go in there. That's not the point of this topic. The point of this conversation is your own navigation and choosing the matrix over your spiritual path. That's what the point of this is. We often choose the matrix. We often choose what's comfortable. We often choose what is most popular. We often choose what is habitual. Yeah. And so until we decide to break those habits and have courage to move outside of those things and venture into areas of understanding and growth in our own personal development and the experience of being on the other side of something hard, yeah, we have a challenge to get there. And many times, like I said, you'll be put, you'll be brought the opportunity to make a choice about where you want to go and how you're going to grow. And so my hopes, my wish is that you choose what your heart is guiding you towards. Often, especially now. In fact, let me say that. Let me magnify that idea. Especially now. Your heart will most likely be guiding you to something outside of what you're comfortable doing. Growth is hardly ever comfortable. Developing into something more than you are, we know the story of the butterfly from the caterpillar. There is a breaking down of the old and a transformation and accepting of the new. And so to become that butterfly, sometimes you have to make that decision that sets you outside of your comfort zone, that sets you outside of your community, that sets you outside of the popular perspective. So they say a stepfather is a sucker and not a saint. Well, for those of us who have had successful relationships with our stepfather, rest in heaven, Houston Ira Foster. That was my stepfather. And he worked his life to help transform my life. And so I appreciate and I approve of that. And so maybe because that is my own scenario, I am biased. But whether or not, I consider those souls saints. I consider those souls who look out for those outside of their own family, yet in their community, saints. They say that the first form of charity, it should happen in your family first, right? And so as a community, we should see a different perspective about the men who attempt to be fathers to these fatherless children. Not the suckers, not the not y'all know what I'm talking about. Not the weak ones. I'm talking about the ones who are attempting to be a strong foundation for a family that will help us as a community, as a society, regroup from where we are. We have to change the perspective of how we see these things. And it starts with the women. If you've seen that video, it's disgusting. I don't even want to. I don't know if how to tag it, but that it's disgusting. She talked about this man who came along as a simp. She saw a simp and a sucker, so she used him, and it was a terrible look for her, for our women, for our community, for our people. God bless us. I love you all. That's why I make these videos. That's the only reason I'm willing to get on here and talk about these things. I've been the stepfather with the intention of bringing that light into a family that otherwise may not have had it. And so salute to you brothers who doing that, who have the intention, not of the selfish, ignorant weakness of those, but has the intention of changing our trajectory as a people. Okay. So as Black people, we need to look at that in a more honorable way. And we need to support those things that are going to help bond and connect and bring us from where we are, because y'all can keep getting on the internet, going viral for clowning each other, but it's a bad look. It's a bad look. The whole world looks at America like a television screen, and we seem to be a television show for the world. And if we don't begin to change what they see of us, Black America, then there's going to be a wiping out of our people, and there hardly be anybody to stand up for you and say it's wrong. Because if you don't use your understanding of the history of how you got here and express it and explain it and share it with the people, then you think somebody else outside of your culture is going to do it? Okay, it's your duty. It's your responsibility to know how and why and what this is. So once again, it all leads back to spirit. It all leads back to the confidence and the faith that you have in yourself and your purpose and reason for being here. So, I love you all. Once again, this is your brother, Sadiqullah. And shall we all get forward? That's the goal here. One love, fam.